Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About It. This is Susan Johnson. I'm here with my co-host, Dennis O'Brien, and have we got a fabulous guest for you tonight. Right, Dennis?
Absolutely. I haven't seen her in quite a while. It's very, very nice to see her again and to have her on the show and to talk about some really important stuff.
That's right. We have Kathy Krider from the Access Agency, and we are just thrilled to have her here. And she's got a lot of things to tell our listeners about energy, the Access Agency, the amazing work that they do for all over this whole region. And I just am very, very pleased and thrilled that they do all this work because we need Access Agency and we need Kathy Krider. All right. But before we go into those details, I just want to tell the listening audience a little bit about what today brought to me. And today we had wonderful events in town. First of all, we had grand opening of Ace Hardware on Main Street. We had a grand opening later on in the day of Carlson Pro Care Physical Therapy Place. We had those wonderful events, and we are expanding access to all kinds of great things, whether it's hardware or physical therapy. So it's a fabulous thing, and I'm really very excited about the grand openings. Not only that, but today I had an amazing informational meeting on education and the losses that the state of Connecticut will sustain because of the bill that was passed in Congress, the big bill, as they say, from Congress. Now, a lot of these losses will occur after 2027, but some of them will be occurring right by January 1st. And some are actually occurring right now in terms of our SNAP or food benefits. So we have a lot to do. We have a lot to have everybody catch up on, and I hope that our next few shows will actually be something that will inform the public about what's going on, what's happening, and just something from the Legislative Research Office. The Legislative Research Office, and I wanted to say, well, how many people on Medicaid in Windham, just the town of Windham, which has 24,500 people, maybe a little bit more. And I got the remark back from the Legislative Research Office that we have about 13,800 people on the Medicaid program here in just Windham. So that's just to give you a little bit of an idea about when we look at the budget cuts that are going to be coming over the next several years. Right away, we might lose about 1,800 people, and so that's just one aspect of what's going to happen, and we'll get into more details about that later on. I also, later on, was also at a meeting with a bunch of people from the Education Committee at the Capitol, and we discussed all kinds of situations where we may lose educational funding, whether it's this year or which will come through the bill coming up next year. So these are things that I will be publishing on my e-blasts every week. So if you haven't signed up yet for my e-blast, please do. And it's susan.johnson@cga.ct.gov. And it's more important than ever for us to really understand how our government works, what's going on the federal level, what's going on the state level, and, of course, what's going on the local level. Because as I have always said, what goes on the local level has one of the biggest impacts on everybody. Right, Dennis?
Well, I guess so, but what's happening in Washington now is really impacting us in quite a different way, in a big way, and it's scary. So we need to talk about it. People need to be well informed. We can't just throw up our hands and walk away. We have to deal with it. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to deal with it now as best we can. And I actually was at an important event this morning. The Willimantic Police Department had a new police officer, hired a new police officer, is going into the training. It's about 6 months of training. But they're now only one officer shy of what they're allocated. They're supposed to have 42. They're up to 41. Recently, they were down as far as 33. They've had trouble because a lot of officers work here for a while and leave, and because they can make more money somewhere else. So we certainly need an excellent police force, and we have one. And I've been involved with working with them on the Willimantic Taxing District Board of Directors, Police and Fire, Public Safety, and I'm very happy to say our public safety mission here in Wyndham is in very good hands in both regards.
I think you're absolutely right, Dennis, and I think that that's very, very important information. This paid, Willimantic paid police, Willimantic paid fire department provides services to the whole region. They provide mutual aid. They're here for us. They are very well trained. They provide for this region. And so I'm very, very excited about that.
And don't forget, the fire service provides ambulance service to the whole town,
That's
not
right.
just Willimantic, and also town of Chaplin.
That's right. It's a mutual aid situation, and also to the town of Chaplin, and they're there very, very quickly, and we actually really have a great regional service here in Willimantic. So they are amazing, and we'll have them on again, right, Dennis?
We
and
will.
I think just last week, I
Yeah.
feel like Chief and Chief were on a show here
Yes.
speaking about services in the greater Willimantic
Yeah, they were
area.
on recently.
Yeah,
One
Chief and
after
Chief,
the-
meaning fire and police.
That's
yeah.
right.
Double chiefs. Yeah.
The double
That's
chiefs.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Both chiefs were on 1 week after the other, and that's good. This town is really coming together in a lot of ways, and it always has. But sometimes we've done better than other times. It's a tough mission. You talk about having more than half the people in the town on Medicaid. That sends you a message. I mean, that's why we're here. Susan and I are here because we came to work here for legal services, legal aid.
Right.
And you know that. We go way back with your family.
We do.
Yeah, and your mom and dad.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's good to see you here, and
you.
I want to hear a little bit about Access.
Yeah,
and,
I'd be
tell
happy
the
to.
people, remind them what Access does.
Absolutely. So before I launch into that, I wanted to mention the Connecticut Data Havens interactive map on the Medicaid, Medicare issue. If you go to that website, there's a state of Connecticut map with all of the towns delineated by color. And if you hover over it, it will show you exactly how many people in community are receiving, how many people
Yeah.
will lose, and what that percentage of impact is to community. So for listeners who haven't tried that, it's a very, very cool interactive map.
It is a very good map, and it's one of the places where I was referred to by Office of Legislative Research. So some of my data comes right from there.
Yeah,
Yes.
great
you.
resource. Thank you.
I found it before you did, Susan. I know that map.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
And now here
I'm
we are
always
with the
looking for things like
competition.
that. Yeah, we're competing. We're always competing.
I'll say you guys showed it to me. How's that? Okay.
No.
It's okay.
No, I don't think
Okay.
so.
It's not, we just compete with each other.
There
Yeah,
you
not
go.
with you. We're not competing with you.
Well,
And we're not competing with our producer, Matt Rupert.
Certainly
Does a
not.
wonderful job.
Hail to Matt Rupert.
Yep.
hail
Right.
to Matt
Hail.
Rupar.
Yep. Okay,
so
so go ahead.
Yeah, Access Community Action Agency, thank you for having me, first of all. So Access Community Action Agency is the community action agency that serves the low-income individuals in all 28 towns, Wyndham and Tolland County. And when I say low-income, I mean people whose we are meeting their most basic needs. And certainly one of those needs that we're here to talk about is energy. But we also support people in their need for food and their need for housing, their need for referral-based case management. We support Day Kimball's WIC program, so people in community who are coming in for WIC services. Our mobile food pantry delivers to 15 food insecure communities and residential regions designated and defined either by census or by the community itself. And then our 2 site-based pantries, Willimantic and Danielson, where people can walk in, shopper's choice, once a month without a appointment and get food. So that's the nutshell.
Oh, so tell us a little bit more about when people would know to be able to walk in for food without an appointment.
Yeah, thank you. So the Willimantic Pantry, site-based, is open on Mondays and Wednesdays from 9 to 12, and we serve about 25 customers a day in each of those moments. And then if you're in the Danielson region, that's Tuesdays and Thursdays, again, 9 to 12, or maybe that's 12 to 3. Sorry, I think that's the opposite. That's 12 to 3. We receive product from Connecticut Food Share and the Midwest Food Bank, both places super generous in how they're supporting all food-related pantries and services in our community, Covenant and all the others like us. And so you just show up on Monday and Wednesday in Willimantic between 9 and 12, bring your bags, please, and you can shop for food based on your family size.
Yeah, and that's a great thing. I have been over to
Yeah.
Access Agency and seen the fact that you do have well-stocked places for people to be able to access food.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just wanted to know. I mean, you have been in the same place for a while now.
we have.
I haven't been there in quite a while. The last time I was there was when the town was trying to make a deal with Access to put a community center there, and
That's a long time ago.
That's right, because the building it was just before the building was sold.
Right,
We were on vacation when Greg Haddad called to tell me
Yeah.
that all these plans that we had put together were not going to happen because the building was sold. I was at a swimming pool actually, and he said, "Well, it might be a good thing for the town to have a private party buy that property, and you might find something." A better situation, and we did.
Right.
We built a new.
You have a beautiful community center here, right?
Yeah, down on Gilson Square.
Absolutely.
So that ended up well. The trick is, as you know, and as Susan knows, is you just keep going. You don't give up. You always keep working at it. But that was the last time I was at Access, and then I had I had a notion recently. I hope maybe it's wrong that you were moving.
We are not moving.
Okay.
Not today, anyway.
I mean, not now.
No.
Okay.
We're.
All right.
As you said, we keep working to figure out what is our best representation of footprint in community. But today we are located at 1315 Main Street in Willimantic and 231 Broad Street in Willimantic. You might be thinking about the fact that in the Danielson region, we bought the former St. Albans Episcopal Church campus. So that was the rectory, the parish hall, and the church.
Yeah.
And our intention is to move our administrative offices, it's just across the street, into that space. We did receive Community Investment Fund dollars. Thank you very much for your support. Representative Johnson was an important part of that, as was Senator Flexer and other local officials. And so we received Community Investment Fund dollars that we will be using to renovate the St. Albans Church campus into administrative and programmatic offices.
Okay, given
But
your
Willimantic, we're right where we are.
For people who haven't been there, I know your address is 1315 Main, but you can be accessed easily from Valley Street as well.
In fact, our front door faces Valley Street.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Which can be a little confusing for people. There's signage out on Main Street, but we are on Valley Street.
But yeah, okay. I think most people are pretty aware that you're there. And it's easy to access you from Valley Street.
No pun intended.
I can remember, I go back to the days of WACAP, the Wyndham Area Community Action Program.
Yep.
And that was Access's prior name.
WACAP was our prior name,
Yeah,
and then long time ago, then we were also affiliated with WRCC. So programming from Danielson came to Willimantic through the combined partnership through WACAP and WRCC together.
You also had a sub-agency out there that was started by, I think, residents called NEAC, Northeast Action Committee.
Okay. That's way early.
Oh, yeah. Well, I go way back.
Early. Oh, my.
I started in legal services in Willimantic in, 1974. But I worked here in the summer as a law student in 1969.
Yeah, that's way back. I remember that.
That is way back.
Yeah.
Anyway, a little history. I'm just trying to, show that my mind is still working. I can still remember things.
It's nice for that to
I better. I still represent 3 towns in the area: Andover, Chaplin, and Eastford.
Well, they are now feeling much more secure.
They are.
Yes, they are.
They're very well represented, I assure you.
So, one of the things that I have to say is thank you for reading my e-blasts every week.
I do. Thank you for sending them.
You're very, very welcome. And what I want the listeners to know, you sign up for my e-blast by going to susan.johnson@cga.ct.gov. And one of the reasons we have our great guest today is because she made some remarks on my e-blast about energy assistance. And I just wanted to say, hey, thank you for contacting me. Thank you for letting me know that what I was posting was something that was helpful. But tell us more. And I said, it would be great to have you on to tell us even more than I was able to tell in the e-blast about what Access Agency is doing for energy assistance, because it's about that time where people need to start thinking about, how am I going to pay my bills for heat and electricity?
It is absolutely that time. Mm-hmm. That time began about a week ago.
Okay.
One of the things I think is important for people to know is that community action in the state of Connecticut, there are 9 community action agencies. Community action is the largest single provider of energy assistance to customers across Connecticut. Operation Fuel, which now is called Generation Power CT, that's their new branding, is a support to energy assistance, but again, the largest single provider and administrator of energy assistance in the state is through community action, and Access is a community action agency. So we're providing that to 8,000 plus customers a season across our 28 towns. And we do that in partnership with what we refer to as our outreach sites. And outreach sites are towns. So they're town human services departments, for the most part, human services departments, which sometimes
if they have them,
if they sometimes will have a
small
single
ones.
individual, right? But
there's always somebody.
Absolutely, but
Part-time maybe.
that single individual is helping to receive applications,
That's
which
right.
then come to Access to be certified.
Yep.
So Operation Fuel has changed some of it. I'm sorry, we should continue to say Generation Power CT. It's an important change to their brand.
Okay.
Generation Power CT has changed some of how they go about providing fuel assistance. It used to be that first you had to exhaust your distribution through us, and then you could apply through Generation Power CT. Now what they're doing, and it's a little complicated for me, but it's all on their website, is 4 times a year, they're opening up application for a single distribution of up to $500. And you can only apply once in a year. If you apply in April, it's April to April. If you apply in June, it's June to June. And so that's a little bit of a new way that they're doing that. Our program is different than that. You start with you're certified for an amount that you are eligible for through income. And then you have up to 3 emergency allocations, totaling infinitely more than that $500 should you be qualified for that amount. I want to be clear that this is absolutely a qualifying program. You must have documentation of certain kinds in order to receive energy assistance.
So
yes.
it's a needs-based program.
It is absolutely a needs-based program. Yes. Yep.
Okay,
And
well,
I do get calls from people about how do they apply. So maybe we could go over that a few times, because do they apply to the town? Do they apply to Access Agency? What if they're in a town that doesn't have a social services group?
Right.
How do they do those kinds of things? And you could break that up in however you like.
Right. So the easiest thing somebody can do, well, I shouldn't say easiest. You can go to the DSS website and apply for energy assistance that way. Now, you have to be pretty website savvy, pretty technology savvy. You have to have access to the technology. You can do that through a local library. There are community centers that have technology available, or you can do that from home. But if that feels overwhelming, and I understand that it can, you can call Access Community Action Agency, and we can assist you either in person or over the phone. So people who have transportation issues or mobility issues, not a problem. We can walk you through it over the phone. And then you can print a blank application from the DSS website or Access's website, because ours is all loaded up for you as well. And then you can fill that application out and either email it, like scan it back to us, or snail mail it in, and we'll receive it that way. Now, you have to have all the right documentation either uploaded or attached in your snail mail, but if you can print things out and get to your online life and print things out, then that's fine. You can just snail mail it in. And when you come to Access and walk in, you can walk in and make an appointment, and when you have your appointment, you bring your paperwork with you, and we take care of it.
So what kind of documentation do you need to bring to make your application? So you might have to have an identification, and maybe a IRS form where you submitted your taxes from last year.
Right. So you do have to have proof of income. That is true.
How do you prove it?
I think your IRS taxes is the best way of doing that. You can. You used to be able to provide a pay stub, but now they're looking for a deeper dive. So your IRS income, your tax, your tax forms will do it.
And that's one of the things that I think people need to understand, because that came in the education discussion today that I had at the Capitol about the new changes. It came in the Medical Assistance Policy Oversight Council meeting that I had, that people will have to bring their application, their IRS form, their 1040 form. And you don't have to earn any money. You can just apply.
Right.
So please apply. This is one of the things that you can get a tax based on a certain amount of income or no income. You'll get some kind of a tax break, you'll be allocated some money. I'm not sure what the big bill has done to that, but right now you're still eligible.
It's not the big bill. I'm not going to say what it is, but you got it wrong.
Okay, tell me how.
Now what Trump is calling it, the big beautiful bill.
Well, why would you even say that?
Because I'm trying to be accurate here. I don't
straight.
agree with it. I think it's
It's
ugly.
Okay, the big horrible bill, the big bill. Anyway,
Okay.
Before that bill, you were able to file and get some tax credit money, and the last time I checked into it, it brought in about $4 million to people that didn't even have income because you were able to get that tax credit. You could have any disability, you could have illness, you could have some kind of problem with getting a job, whatever it is. You still file that form, and we've actually had people at Wyndham Heights provide free service so everybody can apply for that. So you need that now more than ever to be able to access your SNAP benefits and your Medicaid benefits.
Which is an important thing to say, because if you are qualified for SNAP, if you already receive SNAP benefit, you are eligible you're right through that for the energy program. So that's a qualifier right there. Categorically eligible, it's called, and that's a wonderful thing. If you receive income through SSI or SSDI or SSA, that will also qualify you, but the new rule is that you must bring your Social Security letter with you to prove that that is your source of income. So that's a new hiccup for people that I think could cause some challenges for folks, right? So now you have to log on to the Social Security Administration website, and you have to find yourself in that. Now, we do have Social Security offices here in Willimantic, so that's another way of getting that help. And Access staff can help with that, I think, if it's that easy. So those are some things that you have to bring in. You also have to bring in your bill, your energy bill through Eversource. And if you live in an apartment where your heat is included in your rent, then you have to bring in a piece of documentation from your landlord that tells us that is in fact that you rent with heat included. So we need to see that because that's a specific category of eligibility. The other thing I want to say is that if people are under or undocumented, but there is someone in the household, including the baby, who may have been born in this country and has a Social Security number, that baby will qualify the family. But you have to bring that baby's documentation in. Mm-hmm. So this is a federally funded program. There's really no way around that. LIHEAP is the federal program, the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program.
I was going to ask you about LIHEAP. It used to be called that when I was in legal aid.
It still is.
Okay.
That's a federal program.
I thought it maybe disappeared.
No, and it's embedded in Health and Human Services. And then from there, it comes to the state of Connecticut, where it's called the Connecticut Energy Assistance Program. And then locally at Access, we call it the HOME, or HEAP, Home Energy Assistance Program. But because these are federal dollars, and these are federal dollars nationwide, there are 1,000 community action agencies in this nation, all of whom are watching the federal government right now, what it's going to do with these LIHEAP dollars, because it will impact enormous numbers of people if there are cuts to this federally funded program.
Sure.
Especially when you're in an area in the northern part of the country where we have pretty heavy winters and a need for some type of assistance to heat the homes and the apartments. It's really so necessary. And because the fluctuation in the actual cost of energy also is a factor in especially the northern part of the United States of America.
Right. And if you're living in the southern states, then energy for you is typically air conditioning, right? Yeah. Which is as necessary, I think, in the height of the summer in the southern states as the winter energy is at the height of the winter in the northern states.
It just depends. I mean, there are people... There's some places especially when you take a peek at the areas like Arizona, where they have incredibly dry weather, and the temperature can get up to 100 degrees right in there. 110, right in that area. And so even when you go to Southern California, the dryness in that area really makes it feel like it's a little bit cooler than it is. But it is not cool at all. And it can have a horrible impact on drying your whole. You got to drink a lot of water when you're there. Just saying.
My dad lived in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and it's brutally,
Yeah,
relentlessly
it's weird.
hot.
I never forget when we went to Southern California for the first time, and we were there, and I'm thinking, 80 degrees, and then I go out, and really, that's 80 degrees? It just doesn't feel like that without the humidity.
Right. It's not
But
as
we're
oppressive,
not there.
yeah.
We're here in Connecticut, so we better get back to Connecticut.
Right.
All right, let's go
Northeast
back. All
Connecticut.
right, we're flying back to Connecticut
Just
now.
being,
It's cold
I'm
here.
I'm not being a wise guy.
Oh,
We
it's
only
okay, you
have
can
43
fly.
minutes. Okay. Okay. So this, these programs are fairly complicated. So how many staff people during the height of your winter heating season? How many staff people do you have doing this in Willimantic?
Right. So the Energy Assistance Program at Access is directed by Kathy Whitehead.
Yeah.
Dawn
know her well.
Niles'
Yeah,
sister,
yeah.
right? So
Oh,
this
yes.
is our Kathy
Yeah.
Whitehead,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
yeah.
And her assistant is Jessica Stomberg, who is also a townie, graduated from Wyndham High.
Yeah.
And so Jessica and Kathy run this large program. It's one of our largest programs.
Sure.
And then we have staff in both Willimantic and Danielson.
Oh yeah, I am sure. Yeah.
Right. So there are, I think, 8 staff in Willimantic and 5 staff in Danielson. So this is a large group of people for us.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is easily half of our entire budget is the lie heap
Wow.
SEEP budget. Absolutely. No, this is a very, very popular program.
Big deal. Well, we're running up into getting our break here, and we're going to hear from our sponsors. But this is Susan Johnson with my co-host Dennis O'Brien and our very special guest this evening, Kathleen Krider from Access Agency, talking about energy assistance. We will be right back after these messages. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Susan Johnson. I'm here with my co-host, Dennis O'Brien. And
thought it was
we are
my
here
turn
with our
to
very
do the
special
intro.
guest. Yeah, you're interrupting me, honey.
You're right.
You can do it
Very
again.
special
You're right.
guest.
I confess.
Kathleen Krider,
We do
and
this
we
all the
have
time.
some fabulous information that we've just reviewed about how people can get energy assistance from the Access Agency, where they can do this. And now, of course, everybody likes to know more about energy, and you just got through talking about how to make an application, which was good, and we'll probably go over that quickly at the end of the show. But right now, you also want to be able to tell people what to do when they decide that they might need help with Eversource, which provides the electricity. How do people get information or help to make sure their Eversource bill is covered through your agency at Access?
Right. Thank you for asking. So Eversource participates in a bunch of different programs that help individuals to meet their bill energy needs. So Assurance 16 is the name of the umbrella program under which these various opportunities fall. So one of the things that happens under Assurance 16 is that if you are signed up for this, you cannot be shut off November to May. So that's one thing that Eversource partners with us on through Assurance 16. They also have a matching payment program. And that is something, again, that the staff at Access Community Action Agency can help you with. You don't have to do this work yourself. You come into us, and we categorically create your eligibility. And if you are eligible for these programs, then we help you sign up for them. So that matching program is one of the things that we can help you with. And then there's also a low-income discount rate that people who are in, so there are 5 tiers of eligibility. This is complicated stuff, which is why we say, please make an appointment with us, right? Like,
Yeah.
go ahead and see if you can do it for yourself. That would be fabulous. Go to your outreach site. They're fabulous. But if you can't manage it, don't shut down. Just get an appointment with Access. We'll help you. It's complicated. So there are 5 tiers of eligibility, and the discount rate is based on a tier of eligibility. So I can't say that everybody gets 10% or everybody gets you get a car and you get a car. No, it's not like that.
Yeah.
You might get a car, but it's not as nice as that car. It's all based on your eligibility.
The word has come into Access.
The word
and
has come into Access.
We don't want to overburden your staff, but
This
that's
is what they
they're
do.
there for.
This is
That's
what they
right.
do, and they're very good
Yeah.
at it. Extremely good at it.
Having been a legal aid lawyer for 23 years, working with all kinds of programs, income maintenance and medical assistance, all kinds of stuff. It's not hasn't changed much at all in terms of the complexity of these programs, because those people who authorize them and set them up, a lot of them think that they want to make sure that people are not cheating. And
Right.
That public dollars are being spent
Right.
Speaking
properly.
of cheating,
And fortunately,
talk about
most
documentation.
people don't. Most people are really people who are in need, and they
Well,
they don't.
To that point, so our staff is really good at this. And one of the things that they do is if something feels off in an application process,
Yes.
they will look, this is the world, this is the land of social media, right? You can look all kinds of stuff up on social media, including individual people and what they're doing on their free time.
Yeah.
And if we look you up on social media, which is available to us, we're just
Right.
typing it
It's
into
available to
Facebook,
everybody.
and there you are. I don't know what you're doing. You're vacationing in Cabo San Lucas. I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing something that suggests that the income verification paperwork that you
Sure.
gave us, it may not actually line up. Oh, it looks to us like you actually own a business
Yeah.
that you're not reporting the income
Yeah.
on your income statement.
Yep.
We follow up on that and we report that.
Yep.
So the
have to.
idea that people are sort of gaming the system or getting something that they don't deserve, these are very documentation laden programs. And we are heavily monitored by DSS
Well, and you
around our
You
documentation.
must have to have a
So-
contract with DSS.
Absolutely, we have
And
a
you've
contract
gotta
with DSS.
fulfill your contract.
Absolutely, to
You have
the
no
I
choice.
and the T.
That's right.
Yes.
So let me just say this. One of the things that we've talked about several times now in my more recent meetings about the bill from the big bill,
Beautiful or not.
Ugly.
big betrayal bill.
That's my view. That's my own personal view.
Okay.
Not the station's.
And this is free speech, and that's what this radio stands for, is free speech, okay? So it's all about
This show
free speech.
does.
Yes, well, all of the shows do, because they put everybody on here. In any event, we'll have that
Anybody.
conversation some other time, Lovey. So anyway,
All right. Anybody can get in here now.
Anybody. They'll let anybody.
Almost.
but the thing of it is while you have the documentation, one of the requirements that we are very concerned about, and it's wonderful to hear how your office and the people at Access Agency look to make sure that everything is done accurately, because if we have if we're not accurate, if we submit requests for reimbursement that have errors, and they go over a certain percentage, then in fact we will be fined by the federal government. So this is something that is very, very important. People need to understand these programs are very, very well audited, very well reviewed, and they require a great deal of documentation. So what happens is sometimes people who are absolutely eligible can't get there because they can't get the documentation together enough to be able to qualify. So it's pretty much the opposite of what a lot of people think.
Yeah, and in fact, at Access, we decided some years ago to institute some internal controls around audits, and now we do a quarterly review of files just to make sure that we, in fact, that our staff is well trained, that they're using the software that's available to us. It's called Captain, that they're using Captain as they should, and because it could simply be human error based on ignorance. I mean, nobody's trying to do
sure,
it wrong, but
sure.
if you don't understand how to input the information into the system and you're making errors, we want to catch that before it gets too late. So we are doing regular file audits to make sure that we are hitting all the benchmarks that are required.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
let me
very
just say
important.
something about that as well, because I think that, language. Everybody has an idea about what something might mean, and sometimes they misinterpret what the intention was on the computer where they're answering the question. So
Happens to
it
me.
Happens to everybody.
me.
And the way the language is working, I just had
Even you.
a medical test, for example. The language was not specific. I had to call and ask the people in the doctor's office exactly what that particular group of questions meant, because it was not clear to me. I could have answered these things in 3 or 4 different ways, and but they had a way of doing it, and I needed to make sure I understood it before
Right.
I had my test.
Right.
So it's the same with what happens here.
Right. And in terms of language, literal language, so the staff at Access is bilingual Spanish. You can come through that front door and be greeted by Luz, who is bilingual Spanish, and then you can walk through into our cubicle area, and most of the staff on the first floor is bilingual Spanish. We also participate in with a company called Language Line. And so if you speak something other than what our staff speaks, and this community does have Mandarin speakers and Pashto speakers and people who need other language support services, we participate with Language Line, and we set up an appointment with them in advance of your appointment, and then they provide an interpreter let's see, interpretation is different than, I've lost my vocabulary
it's not
here.
interpretation.
It's the other word.
Translation.
Thank you. Translation, right. Interpretation is different than translation. So they provide translation services. Interpretation is the written word, and translation is the spoken word.
Well, yes, but when you get into medical translation versus interpretation, it takes on a whole new.
Oh, medical translation is a whole nother thing that requires certification. You betcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting go ahead,
the
Dennis.
signal to go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Okay, you don't have so much time now. So are we done talking about energy assistance? Because that is probably the big nut you have in terms of providing some sort of a monetary benefit
It's a big nut.
to folks. It's
Yep.
a big one.
Yep.
But you also do, the other major topic is food.
We do need food.
And we have lots and lots of children, especially, and seniors in this town who are, worried about food. There's a term for that. I can't think of it right now.
Food insecurity.
Food insecurity. That's
Between
it.
us, we're going to get all the vocabulary words
Something-
out.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, oh yeah.
Something I never want to have.
Right.
Is food insecurity, personally. And I don't want it for anybody else either.
Right. Yes. So we do serve a large number of the community with their food needs.
Yep.
Like I said, people are eligible to come in once a month. There is no appointment necessary. You shop based on your family size. There is little to no documentation required.
Yeah.
The food pantry staff is entirely bilingual Spanish. I'm sorry, we have one staff who is not bilingual. But she's wonderful regardless of her language skills.
Just like me.
Yes, absolutely. And so we're serving hundreds and hundreds of people throughout the year, absolutely.
Yeah.
As are many other partnered organizations in community.
Well, right. A lot of towns do that now, and they have their own food pantries. And, of course, we have the Covenant Soup Kitchen, which you mentioned before, with Ray Aramini and all those other great people that work down there as volunteers. But, there's an awful lot of, when you have a population which the majority of which, a slight majority, but a majority nonetheless is on Medicaid, in order to qualify for Medicaid, you have to be low income.
Yes.
And that includes lots and lots of children and lots of seniors.
Yes.
And, it's for them to have food insecurity, for anybody to have food insecurity is really not good.
I just want to say one thing about the Medicaid program.
Yep.
It includes Husky A, B, C, and D,
Yep.
but it also includes Medicare Savings. The Medicare Savings program is subsidized by the Medicaid program.
Yep.
So if you're on Medicare and you can't afford a supplemental insurance program, the Medicare Savings program through the Department of Social Services can help you. And so you can make an application and have that. That's another type of Medicaid. The other type of Medicaid is the Affordable Care Act. Under the Affordable Care Act, anywhere from 138% of poverty all the way to 400% of poverty is subsidized by the Medicaid program. So all different insurance policies can be subsidized by the Medicaid program up to 400% of poverty. And then the other aspect of that, which is we're going to be looking at, and we're going to have to, drill into some of this even more specifically. But if you are above 400% of poverty, but you still go through the Affordable Care Act, what happens is you get a program that is where you work will be subsidized through business tax credits or exemptions. And so in those circumstances, the big betrayal bill actually will eliminate those subsidies for the businesses. So the only thing that will be happening is to people getting under the Affordable Care Act up to 400% of poverty through the Medicaid program, but no more are they going to deal with the subsidies for these insurance policies that provide a huge amount of help for businesses that want to provide good health insurance to their employees.
So what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that among those 13,000 folks that are stated to be on Medicaid in this town, some of them, there are various stages of that group. Some of them are doing, much better. They're much more, a little bit more middle class than people that are in abject poverty.
Correct.
Okay, that's on the bright side of things.
That's on the bright side.
On the difficult
I
side
understand
is
because
that
you understand these programs
what happens
better than anybody I know.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, I like to be nice to you.
And so, but now that these people will be in a situation where they're the people that are over 400% of poverty, for example, in the Affordable Care Act, they're looking at going from a insurance bill perhaps of $500 a month to $2,000 or $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
And that is a big problem. And what they're going to say is, how can we afford that?
No.
And they're going to say, well, we're just going to work at being really healthy. And in that circumstance,
sounds like somebody I've heard of who was
Yes.
a member of a wonderful family that I've loved for so many years, and I'm so disappointed in them.
in any event.
Mr. Junior, Mr. RFK Jr.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
Very
right.
disappointed.
Yes.
For them to do
I'm
that.
sure they are too.
So,
Yep.
but that is where that's what we're faced with right now. That's what we're talking about in part at the Capitol. How are we going to deal with the people that are going to say, I can't afford $2,000 or $3,000 a month
Right.
for health
Who can?
insurance?
You can.
And and that's the problem. So we are looking at that, and I just wanted to make it clear that people think that they're not on Medicaid when they're on the Affordable Care Act, but they are. People
Yeah.
don't know that they're on Medicaid when they're on the Medicare Savings Program, but they are. And people even though they're on Husky A, B, C, or D, they think that they're on Husky, but they're actually on Medicaid. So I want to make that clelear. I'm going to have to say that over and over
Well,
again.
you know why
so
that's
people
important is that people need to stop, thinking, not well of people that are poor, and to think that they're the only ones that are getting help from the government when people are getting tax breaks. People get lots of benefits from the government. I got a lot of benefits from the government because I went to UConn when it was almost free.
Right.
And UConn Law School cost me $300 a month.
Right.
So I am darn lucky. I was the government took good care of me.
Sure.
One of the reasons why I'm a big supporter of government is because government changed my life, made it much better
Right.
than my parents' lives, and it's just amazing.
So something else to piggyback on what you were saying, Susan, is that something else people think is that Access Community Action Agency is Access Health CT. And it's not.
I know.
Right, so,
there's that problem.
Yeah,
yes.
there is that problem. In fact, today we had a gentleman call in. His physician told him
yeah.
that Access Community Action Agency was Access Health CT. While we are happy to refer people to Access Health CT, we are not that organization.
Right.
In this community, if you need help signing up for the Affordable Care Act in Connecticut, Access Health CT, you do that at Generations.
Thank you.
Not at Access Community
That's a
Action
good point.
Agency. Yeah.
People should
We
know
were
that.
Access first. That's
Yes.
all. We just keep saying we were Access first.
Yes. And that's a very, very excellent point. And that making that distinction, we probably should have made at the beginning
It's
of the
okay.
show.
We just did. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
haven't been
yes,
access
there's-
that long, but you beat them to it.
Yeah,
Because
and-
they haven't been in place as long as you have.
Right.
Right.
Not nearly.
Well, yeah, and so it's important to understand these different programs and why we have these figures. But I think we're going to have bigger conversations, longer conversations about who is getting the Medicaid benefit. And the other thing is, just while we're talking about Medicaid for a minute, is that the people who are in nursing homes many times spend down and qualify for the Medicaid program. So this is going to have an impact.
Oh.
We have to they have to take a look at how Medicaid and Medicare are foundational in our healthcare system.
Right.
They are the foundation. When they go down, different places like hospitals have to cut back, providers have to cut back on staff. This is a very serious analysis that we all must take part in because this is going to have an impact on our providers.
So cutting Medicaid hurts all of us. It's bad for everybody.
Well said, Dennis.
Okay,
Very
and
well said.
I want to turn to our guest.
Yes.
You have. We only have about 4 minutes left, maybe 3.5 now.
Mm-hmm.
What are your points? You have lots of things to talk about. Access does an awful lot of things.
We do.
For a lot of people.
Yeah. So to wrap up the energy, let's. The last thing I'll say is that also people can receive assistance for energy from WAME as well. They work with Operation Fuel, and they have their WAME Walk for Warmth, both of which will assist people after us. And when I say after us, I want to be clear that if you've used up everything that Access Community Action Agency can give you, there isn't anything else.
Right.
So please, if you think you qualify, if you wonder, if you know you qualified in the past and you're just sitting around thinking about getting that appointment, get that appointment because It will run out. It will run out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause it's-
Absolutely.
And then come in for case management services. Come in and talk to our case managers about the other things that we can do for you. Come in for housing counseling services. We run a housing counseling center, education center, helping low to moderate potential first-time homebuyers understand what that means to be a homebuyer. We also have an emergency shelter, which is a 24/7 year-round shelter for families, 50 beds. That's in the Danielson area. We have a cold weather overnight shelter, which is just what it sounds like. So that December to March period of time, 15 beds just at night. It's not a 24/7 shelter.
Right.
All of our shelter-based and rapid rehousing and youth navigation and diversion programs come with case management. So we are looking to house people, to get people into jobs, to meet their transportation needs where we can, so forth and so on. So it's a lot of services that we provide. And our website is loaded with information.
And say the website. How do you get it?
www.accessagency.org. Just if you just type in Access Agency,
You'll find it.
you can't miss us.
All
You're right.
right. That's
You-
fabulous.
you can shortcut
And
it.
tell us where do they go to help out with an application here in town?
Here in town, you go to 1315 Main Street. Here in Willimantic, our front door faces Valley Street, Access Community Action Agency. You can go online and make an appointment. You can call and make an appointment. You can walk in and make an appointment. Make an appointment.
Yes, indeed. Make an appointment. Now, I just want to say something for the Wyndham Area Interfaith Ministry, and we have to have them on the show, Dennis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to say, do the Walk for Warmth. If you can afford to donate some money to WAME, please do. If you can go on the Walk for Warmth that they usually have in November, please go on the Walk for Warmth and make a donation, because it really helps when people expend all the access to their LIHEAP money, or what are we calling it now?
Yep. We now call it HEAP, the Home Energy Assistance Program. Mhm.
So if they exhaust their heap, then they can go to WAME. So yeah, any last words?
Okay, you've got the last 50 seconds.
Well, thank you both for having me. I would also like to share with the community that our CEO of 40 plus years, Peter DiBiase, just retired, and our now executive director is Emma King. And people may remember Emma from Joe Courtney's life. She was one of his staffers for many, many years, and she is now heading up our organization, doing a terrific job.
Well, we'll say congratulations to Emma King, and thank you for your work to Peter DiBiase. And we'll just say maybe we'll have Emma on the show, in a few weeks.
Well,
Yeah.
I think one thing we want to do is we want to have you come back, Kathleen, as the winter goes forward,
Sure.
and let us know how it's going.
We will.
So
I'd be happy to.
and remind people about their eligibility and whatnot, and what you have available for them. And
You bet.
this is Dennis O'Brien with 5 seconds left, according to our producer. We're going to be back. We've had Kathleen Krider with us. Great show from Access Agency. We got Susan Johnson. We got Matt Rupart. We're going to be back next week with a wonderful show.